السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام عن من لا نبي بعده، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأن محمدا عبده ورسوله. All praise and glory belongs to Allah alone, and may peace and blessing of Allah be upon the one after whom there is no prophet. Today, inshallah, in this discussion, we will be talking about the angels. Amman, so can you start us off with the basic information about the angels?
Yeah, sure. So let me first start about the definition of Iman. And I'll start with the pillars of Iman, because the angels are mentioned as one of the pillars. As we know, there are 6 pillars of Iman. First is believing in Allah, believing in His prophets, believing in His books, believing on the Day of Judgment, believing in the decree, that is Qadr, and believing in the angels. So we can see that Allah highlighted angels and His status in the definition of Iman, like one of the pillars of Iman, so that we have to believe in the angels, we have to believe in their existence. So that, and if any of us deny in any one of the pillars, and let's say we deny the existence of angels, so automatically we are in the domain of kuffar, because we are denying Allah's argument, we are denying what Allah is telling us to believe in. He is presenting angels as one of His mightiest beings, So that in that context, angels are one of the mightiest beings of Allah, first of all, and all of us have to believe Him. And in this discussion, we are going to talk about their characteristics and many more details. So let's begin by our first subtopic about the angels, which is their creation. Let's dig into their background, and for that, Farhan, can you shed some light to it about their creation, how and when, and so on?
Why do you think belief in angels is one of the pillars of Iman?
Yeah, so as I told in my introduction of pillars of Islam, Allah has set a criteria in believing. The criteria is to believe in all the arguments and all the statements that He tells us. For example, if you go into a university, you get into a university by following certain rules. You give the exam, and if you have certain marks, like let's say you get above 50%, that is the criteria to get into the domain of university. Similarly, Allah has created angels for us as a test whether we believe it or not, and that is included in one of the 6 pillars of Iman. So if we neglect their existence, let's say as per your question, like why are they important? Their importance will be discussed in this discussion furthermore, but their main aspect is why they're included for us to believe is that we are humans. It is our test. We go through these tests and we achieve Jannah or hell based on our deeds. So it is our duty to believe in them. That's it, to believe in them.
To elaborate on his point, angels are one of those creatures that humans cannot perceive. And naturally, since humans gravitate towards things that they can directly sense or perceive, it becomes a valid test of belief whether a person would actually believe in something that he cannot see at all. I mean, of course, including God.
Yes.
The numerous creations that's created, which one of them being the angels, they're all part of the unseen, and none of which you cannot even sense. So this is a very, very valid criteria of belief, as Aman has said, and it shows that if a person truly does put his trust in Allah and believes in all these things, then he should be deserving.
He can furthermore reflect on their creation and characteristics, yes, and further enhance his skill set in Islam.
Yes.
So let's move on to our subtopic. Let's dig into the background of angels, their creation. So Farhan, can you shed some light to it? Their creation, how were they created and when?
Yes. So to begin with, angels are one of the 3 major creations of Allah, with the other 2 being jinns and humans. So what we know is angels were created before both humans and jinns.
Okay.
Another thing we know is humans were created from clay, whereas jinns were created from the smoke of fire. However, angels were created from light. Also, angels move at a speed which we cannot perceive. As humans, right now, the maximum speed that we believe anything can move at is the speed of light. However, from what we know, angels can move faster than the speed of light.
Subhanallah.
So this gives us the idea of how powerful Allah is. He can give, like He can break the laws of physics, which we are
Yes.
constricted in. So that's really,
His potential is no limits, basically.
yeah, no
Because
limits.
he's the one who set the laws of limits, laws of physics in the first
So
place.
this answers our first question about their status,
Yeah,
the
and
angel
if he
status.
wills, his creations can break those laws.
Yes.
Yes.
So they are given some powers that we are not capable of reaching. It's by the will of Allah, which comes in the definition of Iman. That's decree, the qadr. Everything is decided. Subhanallah.
Oh yeah, Farhan. I think a few minutes ago you made a slight error by saying that the jinns were created by the smoke of fire, but in fact they were actually created by smokeless fire.
Oh yes.
So this also gives us another idea that what is smokeless fire?
Yeah, we cannot perceive it.
We cannot
It's
perceive
very-
it. This gives us idea why we cannot see jinns in their forms. Our eyes cannot grasp smokeless fire as it is. It can only see fire with smoke.
Okay, yeah. Farhan, a few minutes ago you made a slight error by saying that the jinns were made of the smoke of fire, but they were actually made by smokeless fire. Now we don't know if what Allah means by smokeless fire.
Because these words are really hard to perceive for us as humans.
Exactly,
Because
yeah.
we don't know what smokeless fire
Yeah.
is.
Well, yeah, exactly. And yeah, one more question. I was wondering if there was a certain quantity of angels that was specified in either the Quran or the Sunnah.
Yeah, I was just thinking about the same thing.
So the thing is, there's a large number of angels. There's infinitely large number of angels. However, we know the names of 7 or 8 angels, but there are infinitely many angels, and the number is known only to Allah. And this can also be further explained by the fact that Prophet Muhammad stated that when he went to the Bayt al-Maimur in heaven, he saw 70,000 angels visiting it in one single day. So this shows us how infinitely large the number of angels
The
are.
magnificence of Allah's power is uncomprehendable. It's
Also,
really,
another, I was relating to this topic, I was reading a Sunnah, a hadith, where it said that the Prophet Muhammad said that there's not a single region in space except that it is occupied by an angel that is singing praises to Allah. So you could give us an idea that additionally he also said that like the heavens are creaking with them, creaking with angels. So you could kind of get an
There's
approximate
so
picture.
many of them.
So
Yes.
many.
We cannot imagine.
They're,
the
they're
number.
way greater than humans.
that many large numbers, nothing as compared to a handful of Allah's number. Like what Allah can do.
It's infinite.
So basically, we can grasp like angels are a show for us, like how powerful Allah is, and what is His dominance over us. So basically, we are nothing in front of Allah. That's really nice.
And we are only something with Allah.
Yeah.
One of the main aspects of angels that we associate with is the wings. Angels are known to have wings. Now, the number of wings we do not specifically know. In one hadith, the Prophet was said to have seen Jibreel with more than 600
600 wings.
600 wings, and if you take into account the size of the angels and how large they are, this just magnifies the beauty and how big Allah's creations are. And that was just for Jibreel. In one of the interpretations of the Quran, it says Allah has created the angels with 2, 3, or more wings, or 3 or more wings, and Allah has power over all things. And so this just talks to the uniqueness of angels, in which the angels are not all with the same form. They don't all have the same attributes or the same jobs. And furthermore, there's the beauty of angels. So angels are conceived to have huge beauty. They are known to be more beautiful than anything. Allah said, describing Jibreel, that the Prophet has been taught by one mighty in power, Dhu Mirra, And Ibn Abbas has translated this to mean that the angel has a beautiful appearance and is tall and beautiful. And this is just Jibreel, and we do not know how beautiful
Other angels can
yeah,
be. Yeah, I would like to elaborate like furthermore on the characteristics of angels. One of the main characteristic is that they can change form by the will of Allah. As you know, there's a authentic hadith, and it's very famous that when Umar bin Khattab was traveling Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Jibreel alayhi salam, he transformed into a man, a beautiful man, white clothes and like jet black hair, and beautiful, like he was really beautiful. So Muhammad, and he came to taught how to pray to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And Umar bin Khattab looked at him and he was mesmerized by his beauty. He was shocked, like such a beautiful man can exist among their domain, basically. So this gives us idea like they have this is one of their characteristics that they can change forms by the will of Allah. And one more like intriguing fact is even though they can change forms, they cannot drink, they cannot get tired, they cannot let's say eat. Any characteristic that is associated with humans, they are free of all of them.
Yeah,
Even if they turn into
Is it
humans.
because they can't eat or they are not supposed to eat?
It's because Allah created them in this way, in such a way that they are bound to these limits.
Yeah, so
Allah
they don't
has-
need to.
They don't need to eat, even if they transform into us, like in humans, they don't need to go through what we are going. They
Yeah.
don't feel pain. They are not being tested.
They're not tired.
Yeah, so the
They don't have to
characteristic,
sleep.
exactly, the characteristic of an angel is completely separate from the human, except for the fact we have one common thing, which is to worship Allah.
Yes.
A test for us, a job for them. That's it.
On
And
the
they do it perfectly.
They do it perfectly. Yeah.
Yeah, and
On the aspect of eating or drinking, this was proven when Ibrahim was met by an angel, and when he told the angel came to him in human form, and he told him to eat. The angel wouldn't eat, and he was fearful of them. And this was just a proof that was in the Quran, and where they would not eat or drink.
Yes.
So you mentioned about the beauty of angels and how they have wings. So we have seen in many depictions around the world from many painters, from many other artists, where they've depicted angels to be of a specific gender with wings and how they've described them, even though they haven't seen them. Is this correct, or is this a correct thing to do? And do angels have genders?
okay, yeah, that's actually a very good question because the take on the gender of the angels in Islam is very unique compared to other religions. So what makes Islam's take on view on angels different is that they are not given any gender. Like they are specified to not have to be neither male nor female, and their form changes as Allah pleases.
And they don't need to reproduce.
They don't need to reproduce, yes,
Yes.
of course. As a result,
So
they
this
don't need-
means that the angels are created directly from Allah's will. He says, "Be and it is," as
Yeah, it
it's
is.
mentioned
Yeah,
in the Quran.
BNHs would be you could apply them
Yeah,
for
apply
everything.
for
also.
like they don't
It's
reproduce.
like
That's
that,
just a
yeah.
proof. Yeah.
Yes.
So
But
right.
even we were also created by BNHs. All our actions were
Yeah.
also created by
But our
BNHs.
characteristic includes reproduction.
That's also
For them,
BNHs.
but for them, it's not.
And that's why we need to have a gender, whereas angels,
Yeah,
they
angels
do
do not have gender.
Yeah, they don't need to have a gender.
Which
You
I
told
mentioned that. No, I
this
didn't
was
mention.
okay,
I
I'm
want
trying
to
to
mention somewhere. When do you think I should mention it?
No, don't mention it because we are past. We discussed so, and we're going back again. So, so let's let him speak
Decide
what he
this
wants.
month,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Three,
So, like,
2.
so yeah, I think Ahmad or Aman was talking about the size of the angels. There's actually a very interesting hadith about this. That during Isra al Miraj, when Prophet Muhammad was traveling on the horse, visiting the seven heavens, he saw Israfil alayhi salam. Right, the Israfil Islam is the one who will blow the horn on the Day of Judgment. So he was so huge that the distance from his shoulder to his earlobe, the earlobe may be different context of the angels, would take about 500 years to traverse. That's how big Israfil Islam is. And later on, I will actually say another special thing about Israfil Islam, when we get to
Oh, so
the duties.
when we get more discussion about the angels.
The
Okay.
duties, yeah.
We
So-
talk about this.
So let's move on to our next discussion. So that which is we've talked about the angels, why they're created, their background, their characteristics. Let's go and mention some of the angels and their descriptions by name, as mentioned in the
Yeah.
Quran and the Sunnah. So why not we start with Jawad?
Yeah, sure. So the angels, there's countless of angels,
Yes.
as we've already talked before, and all of these angels have different duties. Some of these angels, they control the weather, they control the wind. Some angels, they protect mankind. Some angels, they take care of the laws of the universe. Some angels are purely just created for singing praises. So now the true purpose, Allah Alam. So there's certain group of angels known as the archangels, and the highest of these archangels is Jibril alayhi salam. And Jibril alayhi salam, he was honored with the task to assist the messengers and deliver the message to them. So whenever a message came to a prophet or messenger, it is from Jibril alayhi salam, and by the permission of Allah, directly from Allah basically. So another angel would be
I think Israfil.
Israfil alayhi salam, yes.
Israfil alayhi salam. And Israfil alayhi salam is tasked with blowing the trumpet on the day of judgment.
Yeah.
When we hear the trumpet being blown, we can say that it's being done by Israfil alayhi salam, and he's in charge of this task. Like this, and furthermore, this Israfil alayhi salam, the angel, mightiest angel of one of the mighty angels of Allah, he is one of the throne bearers of Allah. Allah is on a throne, Arsh, and one of the throne is carried by.
And we don't know what
Yeah,
this throne
what
is
this
because
throne
we
is
can't
because we
get
can't
it.
comprehend it. It's
Yes.
just for literal say, the throne.
Yes.
So it's being carried by 4 angels, and one of them is Israfil alayhi salam. So he also got like one of the highest status in
Yes.
these 4 archangels.
And another interesting thing about Israfil alayhi salam, which I was gonna say, is that Israfil alayhi salam, he is constantly crying. He's crying with the horn on his lips because he is literally ready to blow the horn at Allah's command. He has been waiting since the time he was created till now that he to ready to blow the horn to commence the day of judgment, and he's crying because he's scared for mankind's fate in the hereafter, because he knows that most of mankind is doomed.
Yes.
And the thing is, he's so far away from earth that for good reason, because his tears, if his tears were to reach this earth, waiting since the time he was created till now that he to ready to blow the horn to commence the day of judgment, and he's crying because he's scared for mankind's fate in the hereafter, because he knows that most of mankind is doomed.
Yes.
And the thing is, he's so far away from earth that for good reason, because his tears, if his tears were to reach this earth, its tears would cause a flood that would be equal to that of the time of Noah alayhi salam.
That means
Would almost destroy the entire
that's
earth.
big his size is. Like
That's how
your
sad he is.
teardrop. Yeah, sad he is, and even you
That's how
can
sad he is.
compare him about his size.
And also, it also signifies how terrible the day of judgment is going to be, how scary it's going to be.
Yes.
Wow.
Another angels that were mentioned are Munkar and Nakir, and these are 2 angels that when someone is buried, they would come. These 2 bluish, blackish angels would come to him and they would ask him, who is your God? What is your religion? What is this? And they were mentioned, and they were some of the angels that were mentioned by name in the Quran. Some other angels would be such as Malik, for example, and he
was the guardian of hell.
yeah, he was the keeper of hell.
Yeah, and also Ridwan.
Ridwan
was the guardian of paradise.
guardian of paradise.
There's also Harut wa Marut,
Yes.
and they were
They were sent as a test
yeah.
for
Uh,
teaching people
For
magic.
teaching black magic, yeah.
Yeah, but-
Also, they also have Mikael. He
Mikael.
is the
Mikael
one
is,
who controls the rains with permission from Allah, obviously. There's also one more angel whose name has been mentioned. It has not been mentioned in the Quran, but we've heard a lot about this name from maybe different hadiths or somewhere.
Yeah.
His name is Azrael, and he's widely known to be the angel of death.
Yes. Okay.
Has he been mentioned by Allah or the Prophet anyways? What do we know about him?
So the term Israel or Israel was actually, it originated from Jewish tradition, right? And it's nowhere actually mentioned in the Quran or the Sunnah.
Okay.
So Allahu Alam if his name is actually Israel or Azrael.
Also, it has been mentioned in the Quran that there's a specific number of angels in hell. What is that number exactly?
So in the Quran, it's mentioned that there are 19 angels that are preceded before you go to hell, or we can assume it in a way that they are in charge of hell, like how many people are coming into the hell and what level they're going into, and their leader is Malik, in charge of who's
He's the
called a
gatekeeper,
gatekeeper of
yes,
hell.
yes.
So he's their leader, and he has 19 sub colleagues. Can imagine in this way, and the number in all, the number is 19.
19.
So let's move on to one more aspect, which you were about to say something.
I wanted to mention from the mercy of Allah,
Yeah.
He created angels which are searching for people which are adhkering Allah, and they are mentioning Him. And these angels, once they find someone, they would go and they would create basically a tower all the way to the sky to Allah, and Allah would ask them, "What are my slaves saying about me?" And they are glorifying you, they are praising you. And He would be like, "Have they seen me?" And they would answer, "No." He would ask them, and if they saw me, what would they do? They would, and they say they would be asking you. We would be asking Allah. We would be praying to Allah more. We would be more devoted to Allah. He asks them, "Okay, so what are they asking me for?" And they would reply that we are asking for paradise. And he would reply back. He would be, "Have they seen paradise?" And they would be like, "No." And this goes on. He would ask us, and he would ask the angels, "Have they seen hell?" And no. And it would continue.
The conversation you mean?
Yeah, and the conversation would continue. And then there's one angel, and then he would tell the angels that you are my witnesses, and I have forgiven them. And he would mention us by name. And then one angel would say, but there isn't one person. He would mention the person by name. There would be one angel who would say, Allah, they are in a group. And so he would forgive everyone in the group. And such as this group in which we are talking, the angels are gathered around us.
Yes, because we are discussing about Allah
And we are remembering Him.
Yeah, remembering Him.
They would be telling Allah about us. And inshallah, we will be forgiven
Ameen.
and enter into paradise.
There's also one more angel whose name has been mentioned. It has not been mentioned in the Quran, but we've heard a lot about this name from maybe different hadiths or somewhere.
Yeah.
His name is Azrael, and he's widely known to be the angel of death.
Yes. Okay.
Has he been mentioned by Allah or the Prophet anyways? What do we know about him?
So the term Israel or Israel was actually, it originated from Jewish tradition, right? And it's nowhere actually mentioned in the Quran or the Sunnah.
Okay.
So Allahu Alam if his name is actually Israel or Azrael or something else. What we know is that his name is the Malik al-Maut.
Yeah.
Malik al-Maut. And the thing about Malik al-Maut is that his appearance would differ based on how good the person was or how bad the person was.
Basically on his deeds. If he has done good
Yes.
deeds, so he'll appear nice. If he's followed shaitan, so he'll be more terrific.
Terrific looking, yeah. And the thing is, he'll also be the last angel remaining after Allah tells him to take the souls of all the other angels. He takes the souls of all the other angels, Jibreel alayhi salam, like starting from low to high, and then Allah himself will take his own soul. And then when he takes his soul, the angel of death himself will be screaming because he never knew what death feels like. And now he's experiencing, he's been taking the lives of others this whole time, but now he's experiencing his own life being taken.
So,
So
these,
you have to prepare for death. You have to.
these,
It's a reminder.
these are just some of the angels that we know their names of. However, there are also other angels which we do not know their names, but we know that Allah has given them duties. For examples, there are the angels that protect you. If you read, for an example of this, if you read Ayatul Kursi before you sleep, there will be an angel who will protect you all throughout your sleep. There's angels that will protect you while you're walking. There's also the angels that will, the two angels that will that are sitting on your shoulder, and they will. One of them will write all the rights that you do, and the other will write the wrongs that you do.
Kiraman Katibi.
Yeah, good deeds
And
and
as Jawad mentioned below during our previous discussion, that there are angels who are in charge of governing the universe, the stars, the explosions taking place in the universe, black holes and all those stuff. It's all by the will of Allah. We can see it we can picture it in a way that Allah knows what He's doing. Allah has a will, and His will is continuous path.
Yes.
And He has minions, that are angels that are governing the universes.
Yes.
and no one can question.
And no one can question. Allah, by the will of Allah, their will is working, and our will is just dependent, whether we follow Allah or not.
Yes.
There is also the angels that are mentioned in Surah Al-Tahrim. يا أيها الذين آمنوا قوا أنفسكم وأهليكم نارا وقودها الناس والحجارة عليها ملائكة غلاظ لا يعصون الله ما أمرهم ويفعلون ما يأمرون. O you who have believed, protect yourselves and your families from a fire in which its fuel are people and stones, and appointed over these are angels who are harsh and severe, and they do not disobey Allah, and they do what He commands. And these angels, their leader would be Malik, who is in charge of the hellfire. And one of the characteristics of this ayah is that it also states how angels will always be perfect. They will obey Allah to the exact. They will be obeying Him from the moment they are born to the end of to the moment that they die. They will be obeying Him, and still they will say, "Oh Allah, we have not worshipped you enough. We didn't do it enough for you." And it just makes a person wonder in comparison.
Like the perfect being saying something like that, we weren't able to worship you as you deserve to be worshipped, and then we are humans. So look at how doomed we can be if we don't follow or obey Allah's rule or His limits.
And also imagine the mercy is going to bestow upon us.
Exactly. Yeah, with mercy, I have a point to make. Allah has, it's been stated that Allah has 100 parts of mercy. One part He has given to all of the universe and all what exists, and 99 part, the 99%, He has saved for the Day of Judgment. So He's going to use that mercy to be lenient on us, so that we don't so that we are saved, especially Ummah of Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, as He was promised that our Ummah is forgiven. But accordingly, we know it's Wallahu Alam, what we're going to face, but we know for a fact that we will have mercy of Allah, which is 99 times of what mercy we see today. We see mercy from our mothers. We can see our dads and our relatives, how merciful they are towards us.
Also, it's also stated by scholars that our existence itself is a manifestation of Allah's mercy.
Yes.
Allah's mercy itself manifests into our existence, our creation.
He gives us a chance to believe and worship Him, so we can go to paradise.
Experience paradise.
Yes. And yet, in contrast, we have a reward, that is Jannah, but angels do not. For them, there is no reward. They're just designed or assigned to worship Allah. That's it.
But it is a reward in retrospect.
I think about that.
It is a reward to be worshipping Allah.
Yeah, it is a reward. Yeah, it's
easy Allah to worship Him.
So yeah, as we can see, you mentioned a really great point that we are discussing about Islam and angels of Allah. We're remembering Him, then we are being washed by angels, so that we can get rewards. From Allah from this discussion. And so let's conclude our discussion. It was really nice having you guys here, and it was so nice that we discussed about angels, their characteristics, their names, their specialities, their duties, their numbers, and any sort of thing that we can think of. We tried our best to cover all the aspect we could in this discussion of angels. So on a closing note, I would like to say that if you guys found any misconceptions, I hope that they got cleared out by this discussion. And I hope that you guys benefit from our video. The speakers here, Jawad, me, Aman, Farhan, and Ahmed, they were the members of the team.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for watching the video. I hope you benefit from this. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Break, there's a break. Don't stop it, 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 don't stop it. Let it be, let it be. My name is Aman.
Aman.
Okay.
I was going to say Ayman.
Also, I think it was mentioned in the Quran about the number of angels that are present in hell. How many are there? I thought you were gonna answer.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm looking
Looking at you.
I'm gonna save the bloopers. Okay?
Yeah,
I'm
have to
not
save
gonna
the
delete.
bloopers.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I'm looking at Aman just like.
I thought he was gonna answer it. Okay, anyways. Redo. Let's cut this part. If you have any doubts, you can comment. And you don't forget to like and subscribe the video.
You had to say that, didn't you?
3 seconds break.